Hello everyone, my name is Simon Chamberlain and today I'll be going over the case Automation at Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits. This is case 4.1 from the book Managing and Using Information Systems, 7th edition by Pearlson, Saunders, and Galletta. Let's start off with a quick summary of the case. First of all, what is Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits? They are a company headquartered in Florida, and they are the largest distributor of alcoholic beverages in the United States. To give you an idea of the scale of their operations, they distribute more than 150 million cases of wine and spirits annually across 44 states, Canada, and the Caribbean. They also hire approximately 22,000 employees. What is the case about, and what challenge are they facing? As the company enhances the capabilities of its automated technologies to support their growth, what considerations should they give towards the impacts that this will have on their existing workforce, and how should they manage these changes? Now let's deep dive a little bit more into the details of the case and discuss the impacts of automation on Southern Glazer. The case focuses on the state of Florida, where the company had consolidated 5 warehouses into one mega warehouse. Although I don't believe that this consolidation is technically considered automation, it was certainly a starting point necessary before implementing the overall automation strategy. Having one large warehouse offers a lot more potential for scalability of automation and cost management than it would for doing it in 5 smaller warehouses. Therefore, I think that this decision made a lot of sense. By doing so, they were also able to choose a prime location near 3 interstates that had cheap labor and cheap land. This decision also allowed them to lay off 92 employees, or 20% of their warehouse staff, which just shows one example of the cost-saving potential that can be brought by automation for a company. The second step was the implementation of the integrated automation systems, such as the beverage distribution software, automated order routing, pallet and case conveyor systems, voice directing picking, pick robotics modules. These new technologies made it possible to process 12,000 cases per hour, which represents a 22% increase despite the smaller workforce. The third impact, which is the focal point of this case, is the impacts on their workforce. As mentioned, the technologies caused 92 employees to lose their jobs. These employees were likely the ones with the least amount of skills and the ones who were performing the most simple tasks. Although the case does mention that most employees were rehired to continue supporting the growth, I think that the comments made by Mr. Flannery can allow us to safely assume that these employees will not be keeping their jobs for a long time. His comments were that over time, as new technologies become smarter, more efficient, and more affordable, he sees his warehouse becoming a lights out warehouse, meaning that there are basically no employees working there. Also, employees who have kept their jobs will certainly be impacted as well. They might have to relocate, the job description is likely to have changed, and they also have to deal with the stress of having their coworkers replaced by robots, and they also don't know the outcome of their jobs over time. Now that we've seen the impacts that automation had on the case, I'd like to take a step back and look at the advantages and disadvantages that automation usually have for organizations. The main advantages are that machines are able to perform simple, repeating tasks with much higher efficiency. This is why we've seen machines take over assembly lines entirely before they've done so in any other industry. Second, they can also perform dangerous, dirty, or dull jobs that humans would not want to do, and they can do so with equivalent or better accuracy. Third, they are a lot more economical for companies in the long run. Yes, the initial investment of buying a high-tech machine can be daunting. However, it will outperform the human and quickly pay for itself by reducing the per-unit costs. Finally, some machines and robots are adaptable and becoming smarter thanks to new concepts such as machine learning and data analytics. This means that they are becoming capable of performing more and more complex tasks than before. Now to look at some of the disadvantages. First, the integration of new technologies may lead to safety concerns if the integration is not made properly. I think that these concerns have been highly diminished since new laws have been put in place in order to regulate the safety of the work environment and protect workers. Still, these concerns always have to be addressed by management. Second, employees will need to be trained in order to work alongside robots and with automated machines. Managers may find employees resisting to the changes, making therefore the integration process much harder. This is something that I will address in the next slide. Finally, automation is often viewed as the main reason why massive layoffs occur in many industries. Once again, this can cause some employee resistance in certain organizations. Although I think that there is a certain truth there, we can't forget that new technologies also create entirely new industries and jobs, therefore creating opportunity for job seekers. Over the last few slides, I covered several discussion questions that were asked for the case. However, I wanted to address this one specifically. The question is, what will happen to low-skilled warehouse workers when new technologies develop? What responsibilities does Southern Glazer have towards them? I've touched about the impacts that automation has on low-skilled workers. However, to answer the question about the company's responsibility, I think it helps to start with Cotter's stages of change management. This is a concept that was discussed in this chapter. I won't go over all the steps of the concept, but essentially what Cotter says is that successful integration begins with a clear message of why change is necessary, and it underlines the importance of communicating a vision and the strategy to achieve this vision. This change is difficult, but without your employees on board, it is nearly impossible. I've outlined on this slide how I think Southern Glazer should manage this transition by applying some of Cotter's concepts in order to increase the chances of a successful integration, while also considering the effects on their employees. So, with the message of the new vision and strategy being disseminated in the proper channels, there will also be a mention that some employees will be laid off and that some will likely have their roles reassigned. Role reassignments will be limited, therefore managers will have to choose candidates who are coachable into learning new things and who are accepting the change strategy instead of working against it. This is how I would suggest choosing who leaves and who goes. It will be important for the company to empower employees and remind them that they are essential to the business despite the recent changes. Automation is necessary for the business to remain competitive. However, robots can't do everything, at least for now. There's still need for warehouse employees for certain physical tasks which require speed, delicacy, visual acuity, or communication with other employees, such as drivers, suppliers, and customers, or other complex tasks. Furthermore, implementing automation will also create new roles, such as robot repair and maintenance or programming, and that will open up possibly higher paying jobs for employees who want to learn these new skills. The final steps involve the start of integrating the new technologies and continually managing the change process so that the new technologies are accepted. Communication and support for employees remain a vital part of these steps. Finally, I let the arrow continue because technologies are always evolving, and if Southern Glazers makes innovation and change part of its culture, the change process will be less resistant and become easier every time. I will conclude my presentation with a 4-point recap of the case. First, automation in this industry is necessary in order to remain competitive. Although automation will lead to benefits for the company, it will unfortunately have negative impacts for some employees, but these impacts can be minimized. Southern Glazer's responsibility is to equip its employees and managers with the tools to learn new skills and progress into new positions. And they also need to manage change actively and encourage employees to be proactive in that strategy. Thank you very much.